1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I had a request for this song, After You've Gone. I don't really know the song very well, but I was just following the chart there and trying to play a solo to those chords. And It's slightly above my pay grade to go that fast, but anyway, I'll guide you through the song. I got two different charts here. I guess I'll use this one from Jamie Aebersold, and I'll reprint this page for you if you like. But, if you want the play-along track, I think you're going to have to buy it, and I think you can buy individual tracks now for like 99 cents. So if you want to work out, this would be a good tune for it. All right, so let's run over B-flat triangle. Of course, that's a major 7th chord. I'm going to just mostly talk about how to solo over this song, maybe at a slower tempo. The song is in the key of F, but it starts on the 4 chord. So, to get back to the 4 chord, you want to start with a 2, 5, 1 going to B flat, all right? Now, that's not a 2, 5, 1 in F, but that's a 2, 5, 1 temporary in the key of B flat. So, all right, so here, bebop scale. Just has that little passing note there, plus the B flat. There's the passing note. I guess at a fast tempo like this, you want to keep your ideas fairly simple. All right, and in a minute, I'll put some of these rootless voicings in and play along with the track again. So when we go to, and let's just think we're in the key of B flat here for a second. So we're going to call this the 1 chord, even though it really isn't. So if this is the 1 chord, then this is the 4 chord, all right? So all you do is kind of switch to a minor of B flat, When you're improvising using, scales, what you want to look for is what notes change when you move to a new scale. So like if I'm in B flat and I go to E flat, I have almost the same notes. I just flatted the 3rd. All right, that's really the only difference. See, this one or this one. Everything else is the same, and this is a minor melodic ascending on B flat if you're interested in that kind of thing. And then we're in F, and that's our home key, so just F major. And put passing notes in spots, especially between the 5 and the 6, if you want to. So it kind of keeps your line on the beat. Otherwise, it would be, and you'd end on the avoid note there. So, that passing note really helps. Now, if I would have started maybe here, then I wouldn't do it, and you just got to get a feel for when to use it and when not to. And, there's some mathematical patterns you can use, but, there's no time to think about that kind of stuff. You just have to practice it and when you're practicing your improvisation, don't be afraid to just keep playing the same riffs over and over and over again, because that's how you get good at them, and that's how you get a feel for them. And then we go to a D. Now, the D, you really have a lot of choices. You could do like a diminished, or you could do Lydian dominant. But when you get to the 2 chord, almost always that Lydian dominant, or just a mix of Lydian, really. But maybe put that flat 5 in there like this. And then we go to G minor, C, and F, and that's a 2, 5, 1. And, if you're just beginning to learn how to improvise on jazz, and this is assuming you can already improvise on the blues, you know the blues scale, and you can improvise with the blues scale. And when you move on to more complicated chord changes like 2, 5, 1s, you want to practice this a lot because it's going to come up in just about every song. So 2, 5, 1, and the secret method here is just play the F major scale. F major scale will work, but on the C7th, that's when we can get fancy. And I use the diminished scale there. And you could start that diminished scale a little bit ahead of time on the G minor. Let's see. So at that time, I was still on G minor, but I went into the diminished scale. And let me talk just for a second about the diminished scale, because I was watching some of my competitors' videos, and I was horrified to see somebody explaining the diminished scale on a diminished chord like this. This is completely wrong. What you want to do on a diminished chord is take every note of the chord and play a whole step above that note. So, and those will make nice chords as well. But see, that's a note that's only a half step above it. It didn't sound good, but when I went like this, I've got a note that's a whole step above C. So this is the correct scale for, say, a C diminished. Now, the thing is this could be like an F dominant chord as well, right? Because here's F dominant, F seventh with a flat 9, right? So the same scale would work. So if you're in F7 and you're thinking about what scale to use, start with a half step. And then, do the alternate whole step and half step. But on a dominant chord, you always want to get this little flat 9, sharp 9, and third, okay? That's really important. And then you also have the tritone, or the flat 5, and the 5. So, right? And then going up from there, it's like the Lydian scale. So the important stuff is down here. All right, so again, let me show you the relationship. F7th, put the flat 9, the sharp 9, and the third, okay? Now if it was F sharp diminished, you see it'd be the same scale. I'm starting on F sharp, and I'm playing a note a whole step above a chord tone, another chord tone, whole step above. Yeah, I tried to contact the guy and tell him, I want to rethink your video a little bit, but of course he never got back to me. But that's okay. We all make mistakes, and I'm sure there's plenty of mistakes in my videos, but when people call me out on them, I try to at least put a note in there, or take the video down, do it again or something, because we all F up from time to time. All right, let's keep going on this song. We just did the 2-5-1. Right, and see, now we're getting back to the A section again. Now, when you get to this A minor, you might be tempted to think like Dorian, but that B in there is not as strong as just staying in F. And, you can get away with the B. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, really. But a simpler way to think about it is just think of it as another way of playing F. Now, when you get down here, we're in the second half. We're going, and you get to this A minor. Most of the time, that's just kind of an extension of the F chord. So you want to just stay on the F major scale. But here, because it's going A to D7 to G minor, I think it's okay to, put that Dorian mode in. Barry Harris will say, no, on the 3 chord, don't play the Dorian mode, because in the key of F, there's a B flat, not a B. So, but I think in this case it works because it's a strong 2-5-1 going to G minor. All right, so there's A minor. And then, since you're doing that, you could play an A minor this way. Normally on a 3 chord, I would just play, an inversion of the chord. But if you want to put the 9th in and use a hip or rootless voicing, I think in this spot it works. And And then there's a real fast 2-5-1 back to it. And if you're going at a fast tempo, maybe you don't worry about this too much. You just play G minor. So, so that I went G and just went to the D7, sharp 9, and back to G. Didn't have time for that A half diminished. So let's see. And once again on that E flat, you know, it's really like a B flat minor melodic ascending. All right? Anytime like you're in a particular key and you have a dominant chord a half step below that key, that's usually the right approach to take, is to play what's called the Lydian dominant, all right, which is in this case a B flat minor melodic ascending scale. And if you don't understand this, you know, all this terminology, you know, don't sweat it. Just learn the notes and get the sound of it in your ears. And then, you know, whatever language you speak, maybe you can, you know, make some sense out of it later on. I think it's more important to get the sound of it than necessarily all the terminology. All right, so, you know, it's a long section here. It's longer than the A section. It's got like some extra stuff going on here. All right, now, so this A7 plus, you know, I'm playing the same thing that I played for E flat 7th, because, you know, that's E flat 7th. This is A 7th. There's the plus, sharp 9, flat 9, take your pick. It's an altered chord. You can use the exact same scale. And if you started on an A, you call it the altered scale. But like I say, you know, it doesn't really matter. If this is your shape, then this is your scale. All right, no matter whether it's an E flat or an A minor, or you can even call it some other stuff. You know, G minor, half diminished. You know, there's other things this chord could be. And then we get to D minor. And once again, you know, unless you're playing it pretty slow, just go to that E7 sharp 9. Right, there it is. And let's see what would be the right chord, right scale for that. Yeah, it's like F minor melodic ascending. So when you have an altered chord like that, you think up a half step to F, all right, and then minor scale, with like a major part of the scale up here, you know, F major, F minor. Only one note difference, and that's your scale. So from D minor, and then landed on the A minor there, see? A lot of choices for the D7, because it's the 6th chord. You know, you can make it altered, you can make it unaltered, pick the scale that works best with those chords, and then you got a 2-5-1 and you're back home again. There's my C minor. All right, we'll try to play along with the track one more time.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
simple. So
One,
keep
two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So keep your ideas simple and leave space between your ideas. Don't try to play like, real long lines over something this fast, because your fingers just get all tired and you start messing up. Unless you can do it,